Dear Diary, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Bad pun. I am recording right now from the top floor of a courthouse in Manhattan at 1:37 a.m. I want to say illegally trespassing, but I'm not sure that's correct considering this is public property and I partially own the building. And it's not trespassing unless somebody lawfully tells you to leave. Dear Diary, why am I recording in a courthouse at 1:30 a.m.? Because I have nowhere to sleep tonight because of my ex-fiancée, a very, very evil woman named Jessica Delfino. And today we're going to tell you a little bit about the plagiarist currently known as Jessica Delfino. So all of my horrible, horrible, horrible stories can live on long after I hang myself, which is what any intelligent human being would do. In fact, I think we should outlaw childbirth. But where to begin? I don't know how long I want to make this diary entry. Pardon me for my unprofessionalism. I didn't bring any snacks. I haven't had anything to eat in 12 hours. No, that's not true. 4 o'clock-ish I ate last. Maybe 3 o'clock-ish. I wasn't planning on sleeping in the courthouse tonight. It's not bad, actually. I've got a bathroom. I've got Wi-Fi. I've got power supplies. I've got my ukulele and my recording setup. It's not bad. It's better than a lot of places I've stayed. And it's sad they just leave all the electricity and all the lights on and stuff. But there's a couple comfy places for me to sleep, sort of. Anyhow, so don't worry about me. My life has never been wonderful. And Jessica Delfino is an important part of that. She was probably the best female I ever dated, and we were the greatest, no joke, we were the greatest couple in human history. You can't find a couple even 5% as perfect as we were. Even my ex-girlfriends are like, wow, you guys are perfect. And lots of people all over the world, different ages, are like, wow, I can't believe how perfect a couple you guys are. But she couldn't control her dishonesty, and that's a deal breaker for me, and she couldn't control her violence, and that's a deal breaker for me. I grew up in a household of endless violence and endless lies. That's why I hate liars, and I wish I could kill all liars. And we should really, because I do believe in doing unto others as they've done unto you. All people who use violence should be executed immediately. And then at the end of the week, we'll see how much violence is left in the world. Probably not a lot, I'm going to guess. So anyhow, where to begin? Should I tell you the whole story, dear diary? I'm not sure if it's completely interesting. Might as well. So once upon a time, now I'm not like most men. I have no interest in meeting my dream girl. I'm not like most people. I've never had any interest. I mean, there's nobody I could find who's compatible with me anyhow. Delfino was compatible with me in a lot of ways, but she wasn't in like 80% of ways not compatible. But that didn't matter. The 20% that we were compatible was more compatible than any people on Earth. Really outrageous. I'll spare you those details. Ask me some other time. Really fascinating shit. Example, she was an acoustic guitarist, and I happened to play a electronic drum kit with samples and acoustic drum samples in it and sound effects. That meant I could play beyond an acoustic guitarist at any volume, and she mostly did quick little gigs and variety show gigs, which meant you can't have a drummer. It's too much work, etc. But you can have a drummer if he can pull his drums out of his shoulder bag, plug him in, and be ready to drum behind you in literally 14 seconds. And if she'd do a joke that bombed, I could hit laugh track, sample of laughter. Or if she was doing a piece that was dark, I would hit thunderclouds. I mean, that's just one example of just the uncanny symbiosis we had. Also as writing partners. I always said we were like Lennon and McCartney if Lennon sucked McCartney's dick. But she had a lot of problems. And one day I was at Surf Reality. And again, I'm trained to ignore females. I am trained my whole life to focus on art and music. Women are a pain in the ass, and they slow you down, etc. And they're worse than any drug on the planet. And more addictive, and they cost you a lot more money and put you in jail a lot more than drugs do. So one day I was at Surf Reality, and this girl got on stage, and I was instantly thought she was cute and attractive. Her name was Jessica Delfino, and she had an electric guitar she took out, and I said, uh-oh, cute chick, chicks and guitars, uh-oh. At a weird open mic, uh-oh. And she told a joke that was kind of dark. It was like, hey, old people smell. But I guess if you left a sandwich out for 80 years, it would too. And not a great joke, but I was impressed by her dark sense of humor. But it didn't matter to me. I wasn't going to talk to her. And then, months later, I was bicycling in Columbus Circle, and someone yelled out, "Hey!" I turned, and it was her. She was jogging. And she spotted me on my bicycle, and she said, "Hey, I recognize you from Surf Reality, don't I?" And I said, "Yeah, I go there a lot." And she said, "Oh, hi, my name's Jessica." I said, "My name's Touching You." And she was extremely friendly. And so I had these free movie tickets I would always get. And I wouldn't normally use them because I don't care about the recorded medium as much as I do about the live, right? You should see live stuff when you're young because you can always watch or listen to anything that's recorded later, but you can't see everything live when you're in a wheelchair or you're 80 years old and an invalid. See everything live. Anything that's recorded you can see at a later date. And so I never used the movie tickets, but I thought, well, she's being extra friendly to me. Maybe I'll ask her if she wants to go to the movies sometime. And she said, yeah. And she gave me her phone number. And so a couple days later, I called her and said, hey, you want to go to the movies? And she never called me back. Now, that set off some red flags, obviously. And I called her back one more time and left a message that said something like, I'm assuming you didn't call me back because of, A, B, C, or D, but that's kind of rude. You shouldn't have given me your number then, or whatever. Years later, she said it was because she was dating somebody. It's like, well, then don't say you'll go to the movies with me if you don't have any intentions of doing it. That's stupid. Just be honest. She could have just said I'm dating somebody. I mean, that's stupid. Why lie? Why deceive somebody? It doesn't accomplish anything, and it makes you look like an asshole. But that's Jessica Delfino. Thoughtless. To the end, thoughtless. And never spoke to her again, and didn't see her again either for 2 years. And then one day, I really liked her voice, her speaking voice. And one day, her and I were in the same show at Deep Dish Cabaret, and she did some semi-funny songs, and I really like her speaking voice, though. A lot of females have annoying voices, and Delfino has a very great voice, and I use different people's voices for different recording projects, and so I assumed she didn't want to be friends with me or anything. I mean, I really wasn't asking her on a date. I have lots of female friends who, even when they beg me to fuck them, I won't. I have a lot of female friends and male friends. I don't discriminate. And so I saw her 2 years later at the show, and I said, hey, you want to be... I said, hey, would you be interested in letting me record your voice, doing some voiceover work for me? It doesn't pay, but it'll be a magnificent work of art. And she said, okay. So a few days later, she came over to my house, Mount Everest, and to do some vocal recording. We ended up talking for hours, and we hit it off immediately. We had so much in common, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, fuck, her and I are so compatible. This sucks. I don't need to be dating girls. Plus, she's dating a guy anyhow. But she kept telling me what a scumbag he was. Oh, and other people, too, like Big Mike had told me. He said, Jessica Delfino, she's a fucking snot. He said, she's a bitch. And he said, she's a fucking stripper in Jersey. She's a stripper in Jersey, and she pays for all her dirtbag boyfriend Kurt Metzger's pot and everything else. He's a sponge. And so I was talking about that and stuff, and we hit off really, really too well. And then a couple days later, she came back and did some more recording. And the second time she came over, I was asking her about her boyfriend, and she said, yeah, he's an asshole. And I'd say things like, well, then why do you date him? And she said, I'd break up with him to date you. And I said, oh my God. And then, so that's bad, because then it's like, oh shit, I would like to date her, and I'd probably, she looks like she's quite fuckable. Remember, this is when she was 27. No. She would then, and then I was like, because if you know anything about me, you know me, I'm a savior. I save people all the time. I fix people's lives all the time. I'm the greatest human who ever lived. That's not even open to debate. Put me against anyone you want, anytime in history. I am the best human to ever live. That's not saying much. Who's my competition? Mother Teresa? She was a fucking loser. Gandhi was a fucking racist piece of shit. Take your pick. Martin King Jr. was an idiot. Jesus Christ, shitty carpenter. I mean, you pick the category. These guys are all chumps. The only people who are even intellectually in my ballpark are Tesla and a couple other guys. Einstein, don't believe the hype. He was a fucking chimp. Tesla was smart. Thurman was smart. Einstein, overrated hack. The Jessica Simpson of science. Okay, she's not rich because she's talented, people. Anyhow, oh shit, I gotta keep this under 15 minutes. This might have been two-parter. So we started hanging out. And looking back, I can see why she wanted to leave Metzger, who's a doofus, not even funny as a stand-up comic, to date me, because I had just won $35,000 in a lawsuit against the NYPD, Giuliani for false arrest. I was writing for newspapers. I was doing illustration work. I was opening for the Trachtenbergs, all kinds of great stuff. So she saw me as a step up the ladder. And she later told me that when she met me, those first 2 times, whatever, those first times she came about, she said, this guy's going to take me into my 30s. Although she later, when we started dating, she asked me to marry her twice. And I accepted. She later then, after I dumped her, said, that's not true. It's like, I still have the cards that you gave me that have the proposition in them, you stupid cunt. If you're going to be a fucking liar, you might as well try and at least do it correctly or be good at it. Stupid. What's notable is our first date out, Delfino lied to me, which is weird because if you remember, she lied to me before our first date. When I first met her, she lied to me. You could say it wasn't a lie, it was deceptive, okay, if you want to nitpick. Then, our first date, I forget where we were going, but it was October 2003. And like too many women, she dresses to impress others. She doesn't dress for comfort, and that really annoys me. I like people who are real. I don't like people who try to impress others. I like people who are not fucking followers. And she showed up on the date trying to look hot, dressed like a Puerto Rican slut, 13-year-old Puerto Rican slut. And I said, are you warm enough? Are you going to be warm enough for the thing we're going to? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Well, after whatever we went to, some cultural event, we were like hanging out on park benches and stuff and talking, and she'd be like, I'm getting chilly. It's like, well, I know, that's why I asked you. It's October, maybe you'd want to wear a little more clothing. But she cared more about vanity, and that's a big no-no. But, so I was like, hey, then the second date, maybe this the night, I think it was the night after, because we immediately started hanging out all the time. The next night, exact same thing. Are you sure you're warm enough? Like, you might need a heavier jacket. She'd be like, no, I'm fine. It's like, well, you said that last night, and you remember you were cold. She's like, no, I'm fine. Well, you can guess what happens. The exact fucking same thing happens on date 2. Oh, it's chilly. Yeah. And she wasn't saying, don't get the wrong idea, she wasn't saying that because she wanted to come back to my place and fuck, okay? Don't jump to conclusions. Humans, you're not good at it. And the third night in a row, you'll never guess what she did. I said, hey, are you sure that it's going to be warm enough? And she said, yeah, it's fine. It's like, oh my God. So from the very get-go, I knew. It's like, oh, I said, I better not fall in love with this girl, because this one is, even though she's awesome in a lot of ways, she's really full of shit and has some real issues. And we started dating. He said we didn't fuck for like the first 2 or 3 months. And because I don't need the validation of a woman's pussy. I'm sorry, okay? I like myself. I like myself a lot. I don't need others' validation. I'm sorry. Yes, fucking women is excellent. But the problem is it comes with a lot of baggage. Always. If you can find me a girl who's not fucking mentally ill, let me know, because I'll marry that girl. Oh shit. End of part 1.